grew up on science fiction and animated movies, so of course I'm going to be naturally drawn to animated science fiction movies, even more so when they are about artificial intelligence that goes rogue. The fascination is about the ideas of what waits society in the future and the potential of technological advancements. Pinocchio is a perfect example of an artificial intelligence learning and adjusting to life as a living being and exploring the human condition. I mean, yeah, this is more a fantasy fable than science fiction, but this story influences science fiction and horror classics still to this day. I suppose you could also throw Frankenstein into this example too. Or another perfect example would be the Chucky remake, which instead of a doll being possessed by a murderous psychopath, it's actually more about the artificial intelligence going awry. The Iron Giant is another movie similar to Pinocchio, where the AI in this case is a weapon, and a young boy believes the giant is capable of being more than just destructive. Wall-E speaks more about the dangers of our reliance on technology and the effect it has on planet Earth as a whole. Big Hero 6 looks at how technology can be a companion on an emotional level, helping the human race with both physical and mental health. Mitchels vs. the Machines is not so much a face-off between the human race and technology as the title implies, but more about the family embracing the good that technology does when it comes to creativity and keeping them connected on an emotional and sentimental level. Connected was the alternative title for a while before it switched back to Mitchels vs. the Machines, which I think is far more memorable. It's a tale of two worlds, a clash between the messy and chaotic human world and the clinical soulless world of technology, as well as a commentary on materialism, as well as how social media can make us compare our own lives to someone else's when we're only seeing what they, want us to see on social media, making it seem like they have an idealistic lifestyle that is far better than our own. In a way, I suppose it does what, say, the Emoji Movie or Ralph Wrecks the Internet tried to do in regards to how reliant we should or shouldn't be on technology, having it be shown as a creative outlet for Katie, processing her struggles for not fitting in, helping us to engage with the story a bit better. I think that even technophobes or computer illiterate people could understand her perspective as well as her father's. Rick doesn't reject technology entirely, he simply doesn't understand it and worries about Katie's future. It's an understandable and relatable concern, but doesn't feel preachy about the message either, which would have been really easy to do. To me, the most striking aspect of the movie is how it looks. Though it isn't groundbreaking in a technological sense, I think it does push how computer animation and 2D animation can be combined to tell a story by representing a character's thoughts and emotions by visual graffiti. It has a very street art punk rock feel to it, which reflects Katie's personality and art style without feeling too distracting. It's definitely one of the most experimental animated movies I've seen in a while, and it incorporates watercolor textures in the backgrounds, painted outlines on the characters, live action inserts, and of course the pop-up 2D animation. It kind of reminds me of the Adventures of Gumball in a way, with how it has a very scrapbook-like feel to the visuals, almost like this is how Katie herself would present the movie if she had made it. The scribbly and inky watercolor texture to this film definitely makes it stand out and juxtaposes the artificial intelligence storyline in a way I wasn't expecting, but still feels deliberate. You see the brushstrokes, the squiggly uneven lines, and the awkward animation. To me, this is one of the most handmade looking animated movies in a while, and I feel that is what is groundbreaking here. It's groundbreaking in the sense that it is breaking ground that shouldn't have been there in the first place. I should also point out, I have no intention of comparing this movie to Spider-Verse, because though they come from the same studio, I think it's important to note that unlike, say, with Disney, where they try to have all their movies live in the same visual universe, Sony Pictures has no intention of doing that and is much more about experimenting in the visual style of each of its movies, so they each stand on their own. CGI animation has evolved as a medium incredibly fast, and I love how it's able to not only produce photorealistic movies like Shrek, for instance, but also a more stylized and cartoony movie like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Hotel Transylvania. Mitchels and Cloudy are very similar in tone to me, as both movies are about parents and their children who don't see eye to eye when it comes to technology and how it is an integral part not only to everyday life but also intertwined with the human experience. Neither one is painted as the good guy or bad guy here, and technology itself is also not painted as the bad guy, but rather when morality is removed from an artificial intelligence. Pal herself as a villain was interesting to me, as it's implied she had developed an emotional attachment to Mark. So when he throws her away, calling her obsolete, we relate to that as being similar to being dumped by a romantic love interest. It's only implied here, but it gives us an emotional key to relate to for Pal, which I think is vital here, and gives a reason for why she takes over. Unlike with most rogue AIs though, Pal does feel like one that could be reasoned with. She's not devoid of emotion, she's simply skeptical of it being authentic, and literally kicks Mark in the balls for saying humans have the power of love, when he had dumped her live on stage just moments earlier. That was definitely deserved in my opinion. The story of an AI going rogue isn't anything new. In fact, it may have felt a little cliche, but I like how the movie commented on it literally before it happened. The PAL Max robots, to me, are basically if HAL 3000 from 2001 Space Odyssey had legs, and then lived within a visual aesthetic inspired by the movie Tron. Even the musical score of this movie has a very Tron-like feel to it. It would have been so easy to make Mark a villain, but instead very early on makes it clear he knows it's his fault that PAL went rogue, but he knows he can't fix it either. Not a big fan of road trip movies, but that's probably because it's very much a part of American culture, and I didn't grow up with that. On saying that though, the movie did remind me a lot of another road trip movie, and also a parent forcing their kid to go on a road trip with them as a bonding experience because they're worried their kid is growing up too fast. Okay, KTZ is a lot older than Max is, but I think you can see where the parallels lie. I mean, even the cars are the same color. Overall, I loved this movie in spite of it being a little bit too hyper in some areas for my taste, and yeah, I did find the pacing of the movie a little off balance here and there, and the climax did drag on a little too long, but honestly, the rewatch value of Mitchels vs. the Machines is worth it alone. I have watched this film 5 times already, and it's only been out for 2 weeks. Check it out if you haven't already, guys. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative.